Since I got my iPhone 17 Pro, I've been going crazy taking pictures at night. Milky Way, moon rises, moon set. I've been in Canyonlands National Park. I've been in Arches National Park at night. It's been amazing. I even got the Aurora Borealis, and I'm in southern Nevada. It was fantastic. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. I didn't think I would ever see them from southern Nevada. What a thrill. I can't wait to show these pictures to you, tell you how I did it, show you the small amount of gear that you need to do this. I went into Canyonlands National Park a couple of hours after the sunset. It was completely dark except for the moon, but it was one of the brightest moons of the year. I stayed until after midnight and I didn't see another person. The moon was so bright that I had a headlamp with me, but for over 4 hours, I hiked and explored, and I didn't even turn my headlamp on. It was crazy. And when you see the pictures that I got with my iPhone 17 Pro, you're not gonna believe what it looks like. I got some good pictures of the moon. One day or night every month, but it only happens once a month, where the full moon rises right after the sun sets. And it's a great time to take a picture of the moon because there's still some light in the sky. The phone doesn't try to adjust for a dark sky because if the sky is totally dark, it will make the moon appear white and you won't get any detail on the moon, at least with the phone. But once a month, the moon rises and the sky it's halfway dark. So the light is very low in the sky, but it's not dark. But it's not like daylight either. So there's enough difference in light between the moon and the sky that the moon shows up really well. Here's how to find that perfect time and day for taking pictures of the moon with your iPhone 17 Pro. Open your weather app, scroll down to the box that shows the moon, tap it, and it will open this detailed screen where you can view moonrise, moonset, and phase of the moon for any date. Use this to find the full moon rise that occurs just after sunset. It happens every month. You can do this for finding the full moon set just before dawn also. You can tap the box titled Sunset for sunrise and sunset times also. We were camping outside of Canyonlands National Park when I took my photos using the iPhone 17 Pro and also the iPhone 13 Pro. I've got the same pictures that I can compare, and it's a big difference. The pictures are okay with the 13 Pro, but they're not great. But with the 17 Pro, they look pretty good. I'm very happy with them. A tripod is essential because the phone will only let you have the shutter open for 10 seconds if you handhold. If it's pitch dark, 10 seconds is the maximum. But if you have it on a tripod, the phone senses that it's being perfectly still and it will extend the shutter time up to 30 seconds. You shoot in RAW because RAW takes in a lot more information. 48 megapixels, 30-second exposure. Night mode on the iPhone 17 Pro is really excellent for taking low light photos of things that aren't in the sky. To give you an example, I'm going to walk right out there and take a photo with my wife's 17 Pro of our campsite where I'm currently talking to you. I know it seems like I'm talking to you from the internet, but really, I'm in our campsite in southern Nevada. It turned out pretty well. See for yourself. Of course, I'm gonna put it in here so that you can really see it, but that's a challenging scene for a lot of cameras because I've got the big bright light shining directly at the camera, and yet it's still adjusted. It got the ground, which has no light at all on it. The night mode it's like a superpower. In a couple of my pictures of the Milky Way, I even captured another galaxy. It's pretty cool. Some of the pictures that I took capturing the Milky Way, I took vertically rather than horizontally, even though I know for YouTube, a horizontal picture is what you want, but the stars are up there. You've got to get up there to really get a lot of stars. So I had to take vertical so that I could capture our airstream on the ground and then the stars way up high. A couple of mornings ago, I happened to look out the window of the Airstream. It was about 6 o'clock. It was well before sunrise, but there was some light in the sky. I look over out my window and the moon is just about to set behind some mountains. Grabbed my phone, ran out the door, started running toward the mountain range where the moon was going to set. I couldn't get to the spot that I wanted to get to. I maybe got a quarter mile from our campsite, and it got a decent photo. The 1X, the sensor for the 1X camera is really the one that you want to use in weird light or low light situations. But in this case, it wouldn't have been a good picture. It was too far away. I really wanted to get far enough down the dirt road that we're camped on that I could have used the 4X, because then you're using the full size of that sensor. And I'll show you a diagram that I drew of the different sensor sizes so you can understand it better. The 8X did a pretty decent job. My old iPhone 13 Pro wouldn't have gotten any of these pictures. It's a big step up, at least from the 13 Pro. It's exactly what I wanted. If I would have been trying to get this picture with a full-size camera, couldn't have done it, because I would have had to have grabbed a lens, grabbed a camera, put them together. I couldn't have run down the road. I ran down this dirt road towards that mountain range. The square on the left is the size of the 4X and the ultra-wide cameras. Look at the smaller square in the bottom right of that square. That is how much of the sensor is used for the 8X and the macro cameras. That is the size, but it uses the center of the sensor. The larger square on the right is the size of the main sensor. This is why it's the best choice for night pictures. The larger size means it can capture much more light. Now, look at the size of the sensor of a full-frame camera. Apple uses computational photography to make up for some of this size difference. Being able to take these photos without a lot of complicated, expensive, fragile gear is amazing. It's like I'm doing a lot with just a little bit of gear. And in case you're interested, I'm filming this using the built-in microphones on the iPhone 17 Pro, as well as the front-facing camera, which some people might call the selfie camera. And considering the lighting conditions, it's doing a pretty good job. My wife and I went into Arches National Park a couple of hours after sunset. It was a pretty bright moon. It's not what most people would call astrophotography, because I wasn't strictly taking pictures of the stars. The stars were just sort of an accent to the photos that I took. We went into an area where there were several arches. I got pictures of the sky looking through some arches. You can see the stars in the background, but just barely, because the moon was so bright, which was what was really cool, because you could see all of the rock formations, and then you could see stars. And it was just the natural light of the moon. It was very cool and a little creepy. And some of these rock formations are so huge that when you're back there by yourself in the dark, there's nothing moving, there's nobody else around, it was a little creepy, I don't mind saying. But awesome. I love those photos. And you can definitely tell a difference between the photos where I used the tripod and the photos that I took handheld. The handheld photos, they turn out, they're okay. You can see some stars, but when you look at all of the rocks, they're a little smudgy looking. Whereas when using the tripod, they're much, much more detailed. There's more texture. The stars are brighter. When I'm taking night photos, I use RAW, and I use the 1X camera. I took some pictures with the 4X and even with the ultra wide camera, just for comparison, just to see how they did. They're very dark. They don't look very good at all. The 1X, the main camera, it did a great job. So all the pictures that you see are from the 1X camera, because those are the ones that turned out. Last night I got a text message from my daughter in Atlanta saying the aurora borealis was going to be visible in a lot of places. I grabbed my phone, tripod, ran out the door, set it up on top of my truck, started knocking out pictures. I probably took 25 different images. It's the aurora borealis. It changes. It's not a static picture. The light is constantly changing. You don't know what it's going to do next. You just keep taking the pictures, and every picture is different. And some of them are pretty subtle, and some are incredibly bright, like as bright as a sunset. It was a thrill to capture the Northern Lights. It really, really was. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's really interesting because most of the pictures that I've seen of the Northern Lights are green. But what we had here last night was red, because it was a more intense solar storm. Pretty crazy.